I'm exhausted. What's up? We're in the next part. Please go check out the previous part to gauge your bearings. You're gonna need that context. I'm out here lamenting. Disney. I'm still on Disney. Bet you're wondering, God, what did Disney do? You know what Disney did. You know. I mean, really and truly, back in the day, whenever I watched cartoons that were for children because they were not being aired at 10 p.m. at night, yeah, I trusted that my brain was not going to get washed into some oblivion by an agenda proliferated down the throats of children that is much too adult and toxic and obviously not okay. Like, nah, it's not alright. Y'all, this is not, it's not peachy, it's not kosher, it's not stellar, and it's not in a neat little bunch like my introduction. It is not. Disney. The Lord has given it grace, as the Lord has given America grace, because the Lord sees, just as I see, just as we all see who have been given eyes to see and ears to hear, that we literally cannot afford for the crash and burn of America as a global citizenship if at all we will enjoy the freedoms we presently have as a world citizenship, or at least the semblance of a normal life that we currently have, given the sinful nature of the human being that's making sure that their next door neighbor dies from toe cancer. We're not nice to each other. But there are certain countries that when they're in power, even though we're not nice to each other, really we'll live another day to tell the story. We'll just not be comfortable with our neighbor, but at least we live. Then there are countries that ain't nobody gonna be okay under. Nobody's gonna be alright under that. Like, yeah, why would the Lord award America so much grace even though it's doing this to me? Now come on, America, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're mean, eh? You're like that bully. You're like that chick that I went to school with in standard 1, that would be grade 3, that amassed for herself all of my friends as favoring her and caused me to eat lunch more times than I would appreciate all by myself because I stood up against her and they chose her side anyway. Yeah. And I was like, but I'm the right one. I've always been that protagonist. I've always stood against bullies. But it meant I ate lunch by myself, sometimes in the bathroom as a kid. Like, look at me. Doing a repeat cycle of the same thing I've been doing all my life. From primary school, really? And now look at me be all 39. And dealing with Kagiso again. Yes, that was her name. I'm dealing with Kagiso all over again. I'm dealing with that bully rando that took all of my friends from me because, I don't know, she was a yellow bone that was more preferred than me and in the school for longer than me, and I did not have the clout I needed even though I was politically right. I was the one that was with the correct rhetoric. I was essentially the best candidate for the job, but they did not like me. They liked her more because she was the rich kid that was the yellow bone with the mommy that always came to the school to slap every child around if at all her daughter complained. So Kagiso made my life a living nightmare. But I was right. That's just the thing. These days don't nobody care about things being right, do they? It is written in God's word that, I guess in the last day, somewhere towards the end over there, good will be called evil, evil will be called good, up will be called down, down will be called up, sweet will be called bitter, bitter will be called sweet, black will be called white, white will be called black, and so on and so forth. So I was, of course, right in comparison to Kagiso, but Kagiso, the influence of people. Why? Because like I said, rich kid, been in the school for a lot longer than me, a yellow bone, and we'd work in a black community that is all colorist, and she was more influential. Teachers loved her, and like I said, I was the new kid that had this like ideology that was different from hers, that was however right, but nonetheless different from hers, and I was imagined as, who do you think you are? You literally came here just yesterday, okay? Karabo, and I lost friends, like, It's always been such a tumbleweed in my life, desert conditions. Mirage, I see it all the time. Appearances of support and then boom, they disappear. Always out here groveling in a desert, dying from dehydration, even though I'm right. It's just been the bane of my uncomfortable existence. Why is this even my life? Why? At 39, do I still have the same issues? It appears I was already living in the end of days at that tiny little age in primary school. Because look at how much more end of days it is now. America, I am right. I am right. I am in right standing with the God of the universe, but nah, doesn't matter. You're the big bully that everybody prefers because you were here first. Everybody that is wrong against me, they were here first. They're the yellow bone. They're the ones with the relaxed hair when I got this like kinky afro. So I mean, really, you're gonna discriminate, but I'm right. I'm right. So I've been getting ignored all this time. I'm shadow banned like no man's business. You keep ignoring me. You're shoving me in a corner. You're poking and prodding away at me, seeing if pus is going to ooze out of me. You're literally experimenting with a whole human being that is entirely right, and yet I still stand with you. Because the alternative is shockingly horrific for us all. But like, you see, the thing about the right person is that ultimately, because God is God, They get vindicated, but at their vindication, the wrong one then gets destroyed. So do you not see that this is grace? It's mercy. If at all the majority of the planet prefers you, there must be something that you are seemingly doing right. However, you're also doing it very wrong. And when the Lord sends you messengers of right, and you still stick with wrong, what are you doing? When God sends you prophets, prophetesses, when God sends you messengers and other things, when God sends you smoke signals and SOSs, when the Lord sends you flaming swords coming out of the tongues of disciples, and you're like, sorry, we're not doing this today. Snooty-nosed in the sky, looking like a swordfish, the way you're so pompous. Gango is sharp. Whoa, one day, like, I don't know, bomb much? Like, it's gonna happen. Is the world over? I don't know. Why is Julia Roberts leaving her little city? I don't understand. Why are celebrities flooding out of their state? Why are they choosing to go to work from far away? What are you doing? No, I just need to understand. Somebody give me some comprehension. I don't appreciate being in the dark. Award me that much. All I want to do is just know. Like, give me just that much. You owe me a notice, a letter. Like I said, a suicide letter. You owe me a resignation letter. I need to know. Because at this point, just an abrupt expulsion, an abrupt quitting, an abrupt extraction of oneself from the ecosystem is just not going to cut it. Let the world know why you have left it destitute with your insane woke agenda. Obviously, Satan is all up in your grill. That's the thing. That's what happens when a country is or has been successfully able to proliferate the work of God on earth. It functions much like a disciple. When you get born again, you go from having lived your life, just relatively la-di-da, everybody's ignoring you because you're ignorable. But when you get born again, all of a sudden you get noticed, but in a very passive-aggressive way. People just poke and prod away at you and try to eradicate you because they don't like God. They're unholy, and so when they see you, they see something to slap. And so you suddenly get persecuted. You become this cup of staggering like Jerusalem. People fall apart around you because you're all emanating with the Holy Spirit. And so the devil tries to do what it is that has been the attempt on my life for a very long amount of time, just like a disciple. Yeah, you're gonna leave God. You're gonna leave God. You're gonna leave God. You're gonna leave. That's the devil. Like, he has no manners. Plus, he's got that grimacing look on his face too. Despite it being so ugly, some people actually capitulate. Can you believe it? They take it. They do. You will remember in the book of Job. Yeah, he was above reproach, living a really good life, living la vida loca, because he thought he was Enrique Iglesias, like a glacier of ice, coming to stab you in the heart. Job was a wealthy man. Everybody loved him. He was godly, he was pious, and he was left alone for a season. Everything was working swimmingly in the life of Job. And then the devil was like, yeah, hey? Floating around that general ecosystem as the sons of God were gathering around God, the devil was like, And God looked at him on some, have you considered my servant Job? You that's sitting there on some, And the devil was like, hey, look, okay? Fine. So he's all pious and godly, duh. Why wouldn't he be pious and godly? You give him everything he wants. He's such a spoiled brat. He says, and you just keep on dropping all this gold in his mouth. Take it away. Then he will surely curse you to your face. And God was like, okay, fine. You can't take his life, but you can certainly extract the gold from out of his mouth. And so Job lost his children, his fields, his everything. What did Job say? Instead of cursing him to his face and dying, just as the devil predicted, he was like, naked I came into this world, naked shall I leave. The Lord has given, the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And in all that Job did, he did not sin. And the devil was like, that's the nature of a test. And so just as with the individual disciple, the Lord will always send a test through. Have you considered my servant Karabo, Job? Have you considered my servant, I don't know, an entire country, America? Yeah, and then the devil will be like, you've given them all this power. Look, they're so wealthy, and on top of that, they just get everything they want. Look at them, they're opening their mouths, and they just keep getting gold. You've made them the global reserve currency. Everybody loves them. Take that away from them and watch them suffocate. The devil will always focus on you when you're godly and you're just left to swim these streets. When you are bouncing up and down like a kangaroo on a beach ball, a kamikaze beach ball because you're suicidal, according to the devil. He will ask the Lord to petrify you. He will shake you, the intention of which is for you to ultimately prove that you've always been God's. So you have to say, naked I came into this world, naked I shall leave. Nah, God gave the devil permission to tempt America, and look at how you just fell apart. You're not Job now, are you? You literally fell apart. Like, after the guy lost his babies, after he lost his house, you're like the equivalent of Job that goes on right ahead to be like, you know what, I don't think so. Or you're like the tantamount of Job that has got a split personality. One half of him is like, naked I came into this world, naked shall I leave. The Lord has given and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And then the other half is like, the Lord, the Shmord. Lord Shmord. Jesus Shmizas. Like, yo, did God really say? Ain't none of that ever happened. I feel like I need my liberties, I need my rights. Plus, I'm all fat and sleek. I'm filled with much wine and bread. So I'm gonna go and party. Hey, and create a Sodom state. And then there is this, like, the split down the middle. Making war within the same guy. The same guy is out here one day being all pious, and then tomorrow... But unfortunately, this guy, look at how the devil infiltrated the side of him that's nasty through one of the most influential portals of reach on the planet. Like, the entertainment industry. Are you serious? Like, media? For real? So now those who are sober in America can't even come up for air. They can't breathe. Their politicians are literally mad in the head. They're crazy. The things they're saying are ludicrous. Like, the other day there was this, like, 20-some-old OBGYN student. OBGYN, for those of you who don't understand, it's obstetrician and gynecology. So a med student focusing on female reproduction and all that jazz. Or female health. Guys, and this little child at university, I mean, that kid obviously is intelligent because you're a med student. Yet nonetheless, with all that intelligence, you lack wisdom. Intelligence and wisdom are not the same thing. She was like, if at all, she was living in a state that had outlawed abortion or something, and she went to Congress in America and said that if her university will not enable her. Anyway, yeah, I'm back. What is this? The OBGYN student. Yeah. She was living in a state in America. I can't tell you which one it was, but it was one of the conservative states. And the university that she was studying in was, I guess, under the laws of that state. And therefore, they restricted what it is that they trained their students to do. And also, in terms of residency at a hospital, to be able to do certain procedures, you have to, I guess, be allowed to do them within the state that you reside. And this chick was complaining about how it is that living in a conservative state and studying in a conservative state's university, her residency within the OBGYN field basically blocks her from gaining the training that she needs to perform abortions. And she feels as if though her training and her, therefore, growth in her career is going to be plateaued if she cannot be enabled to do abortions, even if it calls for it up to 9 months. Like, as in just before the baby is born, full-term abortions. This was a Generation Z kid, a Gen Z at varsity, out here thoroughly, crying at Congress about how it is that she can't do a full-term, that's like a whole human being, a full-term abortion. And she wanted to work a job where she would be able to perform as many abortions as possible because that's a woman's right. How under heaven this little girl was given any airtime amidst Congress in America is beyond me. This little psychopathic murderer, this killer machine, this broad-scale, genocidal, creepy little girl, how she was given airtime in Congress is beyond me. Terminator, thoroughly living inside governments and countries. Some things should not even be up for debate. They should not even be up for debate. For crying out loud. Like, full-term abortion. Are you serious right now? Like, the woman is hefty. Her stomach is from here to Mars. And you want to go and just, like, cut that open like Ilechapu and take out a human being. What is happening in that country? I need to understand. That's why I'm saying, you know what, they're writing... No, they're not writing. They're committing suicide as teenagers without letting us know, I mean, at a minimum, why. Just give us the heads up. We just need a heads up. That's all. We just need to understand why you're doing this thing. Because if you're going to insist on doing it, we just need to know why. Because it literally does not make any sense. It doesn't make sense. So make me understand. I just, I'm being reasonable at this point just to seek out an understanding as to why. That is what's happening in that silly country. And my country is silly, but it's not that silly. We don't do full-term abortions in this land. Like, there are crazies, and then there are exorbitant crazies. And I think my country is crazy. But America is becoming exorbitantly crazy. But like I said, it's split down the middle. It is split into where some are like, what's happening? This is crazy. And others are like, I'm sorry, crazy is the new normal. And it's like the thing that made your country what it is. How you gonna go call that crazy? How under heaven are you going to go and call that insane? I need to, like, what? Human individuals, please give me understanding. I'm struggling. I'm having a very tough time understanding anything at all. I don't understand much. I don't like not understanding. I like education and instruction, so please give me some. Just give me an informed, kaleidoscopic landscape that helps me get why we all had to die because of you. That's all I'm asking. Because really, at this point, if this is going to be a global catastrophe, we need an explanation at a minimum. When you are teaching children through cartoons and everything how to be the weirdest little things under heaven that you can ever possibly be, and then you leave California? Honey, come on. At least give me a reason why you are leaving. Given that you are unprepared to pull away from the thing that you started, to highlight it, to, sound a warning. That's all I need to know. That's all. We, not I, we, all of us. That's all we need to know. Because this is an all of us thing. We are all being disturbed by this. We are all being massacred, lambasted by this. All of us. All of us. There isn't a single person left out of this equation. We all are about to drop like dominoes because you started it. So please let us know. Help us comprehend some things. Gaze into our eyes and explain why the lifeblood out of you is leaving all of us destitute as orphans on the planet, to be adopted by silly China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, basically all the countries that stand against God, all the Muslim nations that just keep on jihading anyone that doesn't agree with them. We just need to understand why we're now going to be their adopted kids. Because somebody got to take that baton. America, help us understand. Like, at this point, we need to get what's going to happen tomorrow. Listen, okay? The Lord, upon being gracious to a child of his, gives that kid a minute and time to overcome their foolishness. He has created an entire parable in the scriptures called the parable of the prodigal son, where it is that like a silly little boy that disinherits himself goes back home all grubby. And America is a prodigal son that's grubby. And the thing about you being a son and not an illegitimate rando is that you will be disciplined. You will be called back. You will be yelled at, screamed at, scourged. You will be punished. You will be given the rod. So if God is scraping at you, feel blessed. Really do. Because he could just leave you to your reprobate mind and let you be one of those end times nations that are that create out of Jerusalem a cup of stumbling, a cup of staggering. Yeah. You could be among all those surrounding nations that want to heave away Jerusalem. And so you're handed over to becoming an idiot. It is written in God's word in Romans 9 that the Lord is the one that has mercy on whomever he will have mercy, and have compassion on whomever he will have compassion, and also condemn or judge whomever he will condemn or judge. That's what Jesus says through Paul as he is writing the book of Romans. Yeah. Therefore, the pottery cannot say to the potter, what have you done? Yeah. So sometimes God chooses people for honorable use and then others for dishonor. Same thing is true with countries. So if you have been chosen for dishonorable use, you can't say what you've done with me here. I don't like it. Bottom line is, it is what it is. The Lord has set apart everything for its purposes, including the wicked for the day of trouble. He is sovereign. So he loves Jacob and he hates Esau. So if you are Jacob, he will discipline you. If you are his child, he will tell you, what are you doing? He will try to bring you back. And so that's why there's a split right down the middle in that cantankerous nation that is America. You are abusing the planet. Look at what you're doing to a woman all the way in South Africa. Why am I shadow banned? Somebody tell me. I need to know. I have no understanding. I'm trying to create understanding in whomever will take understanding. And I can't even speak to anybody because America's like, shh. Why? Why are you shushing me? You're shushing me, America. Because you don't want more than your own citizens telling you where to get off. Like, there are people chilling in there that don't agree with what you're doing. You're hurting their own country from within it. And they're like, no, stop it. And you're like, you know what? We have enough of our own naysayers. We have enough of our own naysayers. We have enough of our own scratches of eyes. We have enough of our own strange little weird conservative creeps. We have enough. We ain't trying to get somebody from South Africa telling us where to get off, so shut up, you. Except I wasn't even trying to tell America to stop doing a strange thing. I was trying to tell South Africa, but then America decided that if it's a conservative's voice anywhere on the planet, really, doesn't matter if it's speaking to Ghana, France, South Africa, Timbuktu, Jamaica, doesn't matter. As long as it's kind of odd, I'm gonna censor it. Really? You're gonna censor me even though I'm trying to talk to these, like, randos in South Africa? They're dropping the ball hard knock. Their pants are all down and everything, loins dangling. They don't want to wear some clothes. Yeah. And you don't want to talk to these naked buffoons. You don't want me talking to them. Goodness, I wasn't even trying to talk to you. But now you're making me look at you, and I'm like, but why are you hurting me when I'm trying to talk to South Africa? And they were like, because at the end of the day, even America listens to you. At the end of the day, this is social media. At the end of the day, whether or not you want to talk to just bots or South Africa or Ghana or Southern Africa, bottom line is, there's some Americans listening. We don't want them influenced by your ideas, so we're just gonna censor the whole planet of conservatives. Oh, really? Is that what we're doing? Yeah. I mean, really and truly, America, at the end of the day, though, the sad thing about it is this, okay? We are the ones that are consuming your entertainment. We're the ones that make sure that your big, fat, chunky Hollywood stays your big, fat, chunky Hollywood. We're the ones out here purchasing your Netflix subscriptions. We are the ones out here still watching on Netflix, even though we're sick and tired of seeing gay sex scenes in every second show. Goodness, guys, like, have mercy on me the other day. The other day, America, this is you. You've done this, you know? I do everything in my power to avoid shows on Netflix that have got sex and profanity and all different kinds of things. And if I tell you, it is such a stretch to find a series that I can stick with. I tend to find a series and it lasts me several weeks and I'm chilling and I'm basking because it's clean. And then when it gets to the end of itself, oh, I was so frustrated when The Flash, season 8 of The Flash ended. I was like, where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna go? When The Walking Dead ended, I was like, where am I gonna go? Because it's so hard to find something to watch on Netflix and stick to it without being lambasted with some silly woke agenda from America. So there was a season when I was watching nothing but South Korean content. Like, I was watching nothing but K-drama. Because K-drama was the only one out here in these streets not trying to lambaste me with, never mind sex scenes, but gay sex scenes. And also so much profanity that every time my ears are like I'm twitching. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, I was watching K-drama, but I got tired of reading subtitles. And I also got tired of K-drama. I wanted variety. I wanted a change. And so I moved right back to American content. And again, anything produced before 2018, 19, 17, unwholesome. So I have been stuck on Netflix if I'm watching American content with literally old shows, like old shows. Recently I watched Castaway. That's a movie by Tom Hanks long ago. Like, you're safe. Either stick to old stuff like archaic random stuff, or go outside of America. So yeah, that's what's good. The most recent series that I watched on Netflix is called the one that I'm presently watching is not from America, it's from the UK, and it is called Fool Me Once. Yeah. And it's clean. So I'm sticking to it, but I'm freaking out because it's literally got just 8 episodes. I always get so frustrated when stuff has got like 8 or 10 episodes, or it's called a limited series, or it's got 2 seasons. It's like, why aren't you like The Walking Dead, like slapping me with like 11 whole seasons? Why aren't you like The 100, slapping me with like 7 whole seasons, and I can just be in here for like 2 months? 2 months. That's what's good. Nah, but sometimes it's a limited series, and when you get to the end of it, you are again like, you will dotter around like a geriatric. You will eventually get to such an old age just scanning Netflix for something that you can chill with and relax. So the way that I get around it, if I'm like just quickly trying to get something, some content, entertainment in, because I cannot just watch videos on YouTube about the end of the world. I'll lose my mind. I cannot just watch videos on here. I'll lose my mind. I need to escape in fiction for at least an hour or two a day, because my life is really hard. So I need Netflix. I really do. I need entertainment that divorces me from the realities of this world. But I'm always tased. Yeah, especially if something is a page turn and I watch it really quickly and it finishes, I'm like, where am I gonna go? I'm always so scared. You check like discrimination, language, sexual conduct and whatnot. They will say that none of these things are in there. And while none of these things are in there, they will then lambaste you with some other suggestion that just, it exhausts you. And I thought I found a relatively safe show to watch that was also a limited series recently. The story of CJ Walker, Madam CJ Walker, the hair product lady. Yeah, it's called Self-Made on Netflix. Guys, I thought I was safe in there, right? They like profanity. There's no profanity. There's no sex. It's just basically an account of a real life story of a person. It is that's some of the cleanest content you can ever find on Netflix when they're telling the story of a real situation. Yeah, I'm out here watching the story of CJ Walker, and the first episode I was like, yeah, this is nice. Like, yeah, I was feeling it so much, trying to get all encouraged. And then I get to like, oh goodness, it only has 4 episodes, but they're all long. It's like an hour long, so I watch one a night and I feel like, yeah. Ooh, guys, I get to like episode 3, or is it 2? And I'm like, is this really a true story though? Is it? Are you going to tell me that about 50 years ago, are you going to tell me that about 100 years ago, 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago, are you going to tell me that there were presidents in the White House that were closet homosexuals that didn't come out? Are you going to tell me that there were entire senators that were closet homosexuals that didn't come out? Entire businesswomen, people who built America, are you going to tell me that some of them were actually gay, but they didn't come out? If at all I were to go and read their autobiographies or their biographies as they were written, accurately describing their actual lives, am I going to come to learn that they were in the closet? Am I going to come to learn that they were in the closet? I mean, I know that who's this was a closet homosexual, and that was actually communicated, but that's not an American guy. I believe he was British. The guy who, the tuning machine, whatever, the guy who basically built the first ever computer. Yeah, he was busted for like some homosexual activity type thing. So he was a historical hero that enabled which country exactly to win World War? Is it what? It was 2. The one with Hitler? The Turing Machine, that movie. Yeah, that was actually true. That was actually genuinely true. The guy did get arrested for gay activity, etc. But he is a modern day hero because of his innovations of back in the day. So that story's depiction of what he was, Alan Turing, or is it Alan Turing or whatever, that was a true story about his homosexuality. But like, was Madam CJ Walker's daughter really a closet homosexual? Was she? I don't know. But all I know is that was something that Hollywood saw it fit to ingest and like just slip in to the storyline of that movie. They just made a decision to just slip that one in. They slipped it right in, and something deep down inside me told me that, did they just make a lesbian out of a woman that wasn't a lesbian? Because after getting divorced from her husband, she never remarried. Did they just create a lesbian out of a woman because they're trying to proliferate an agenda? In which case, it's like, you are not telling history. You cannot say that this is based on true events when you are not telling the truth. Was Madam CJ Walker's daughter actually a closet lesbian? I don't think so, but in that show she was. And I just got so exhausted. It was played by Tiffany Haddish. I got so tired. I was like, but this was a good show. I enjoyed this. Like the first episode, I was chilling. Like, you know when you relax and the Holy Spirit doesn't get grieved when you watch something on Netflix and then suddenly it gets grieved. Suddenly he gets grieved. That's what happened. And I was like, you know what, this level of rubbish, I'm not really sure what to do to escape it. It appears there is no getting out of this. But then again, it is America, isn't it? Like, you can trust when you watch K-drama that nobody's gonna pop out of the closet. Like, you literally can trust that. There is nobody that is going to rock up here with a feministic agenda, first and foremost. They absolutely respect gender roles in Korea. And secondly, ain't nobody that is a man and a man or a woman and a woman gonna be popping out kissing on TV. It takes a million years for even the women and men to get to a point of kissing in the shows, and they never ever show sex. Ever. They don't show sex. Go and watch K-drama. You can literally sit there, bask, sleep, wake up, it's just so clean, and the storylines are so pure, and it's just old school chivalry, and you will be like, yeah, they got something right going down for themselves in Korea. I love K-drama for those reasons. K-comedy, K-whatever. I love Korean shows. I love them. I love them. Science fiction, what is this? Their horror is very, very extreme though. I like their science fiction. I like their drama. I like their comedy. I can watch it for days on end because they always keep it pure. They always keep it pure. Their entertainment industry has not been defiled. It has not been defiled. So what is happening in America? They are ruining it for the rest of us because they're the ones who have all the power. Madam C.J. Walker's daughter, I don't think was gay. I seriously don't think she was gay. All these gay guys that are popping up all over the show and women out of shows that depict history. It's just killing me inside. It's just murdering me slowly. It's rough to watch something that is based on an account of true events. And then they go and they just invest this agenda in it. They go and they invest this agenda in it. It's like, can anybody run? Can anybody flee? Where are we gonna go? So unless you watch really old school American content, you're not gonna get anywhere. Unless you watch something from 1997, you're not gonna get anywhere. Unless you watch something from basically before 2017, 2016, you're not gonna get anywhere. It even happens in series. Like, Designated Survivor killed me slowly inside. And I'm brokenhearted that one of the lead characters there recently passed away, the guy. But anyway, Designated Survivor was a good old-fashioned American political show with no swearing, just politics. And you could just bask under it and watch and watch and watch. No swearing, no sex, nothing, just politics. You're just watching it. And then you get to the last season, and the little daughter is out here using profanity against the dad. And of course, they introduced a gay guy. And they also introduced a gay sex scene. And I'm like, whoa, here it is that I watched the show from season 1, 2, 3, swimmingly, just gladly eating ice cream in front of the television. And then in season 4, I'm grieved, and because I am hooked all the way to find out how this story ends, I am then subjugated to a tyranny of watching stuff that grieves the Holy Spirit just to find out how this all ends, seeing as I watched season 1 to 3. Same thing is true with Good Doctor. They just went and ruined a perfectly good show in the latter seasons. It's like, if at all America, people are feeling lambasted by what you're doing, why do you not stop? If K-drama is out there growing faster than you, why are you not stopping? You're literally sending people to cartoons that are Asian. You are sending people to to drama, comedy that is anything but American. You are killing your own country, but if at all you kill America, who is going to take over from them? Who? Because there is some people are always going to want to take over power when power has been lost somewhere. And the people who take power are the ones who have been garnering strength for themselves in the run-up to the power dying. When the power was now busy dying, somebody was like, as soon as this power is done and dusted in dying, as soon as it is finished dying, as soon as its little death process is nicely concluded, I'm gonna rock up and I'm going to take the power for myself. And the alternatives of who it is that stand to take power back from America are very scary. It's kind of like a horror movie. How and like why under heaven is Disney teaching children things that children ought not to be taught? And because of that, God disciplines anybody that he loves. He does not leave them reprobate. He does not hand them over. He waits for them patiently. But there comes a time when if a person does not repent, God just throws them away. There comes a time when if a nation doesn't repent, therefore just like with people, God throws them away. The Lord has put this country before the devil and said, have you considered my servant America? And it is split down the middle, doing a strange thing sometimes and doing a better thing other times. And that duplicity of it, if at all the church is vastly outnumbered or the sober are vastly outnumbered, he will simply just extract the sober and then judge the whole country. He will allow the land to be taken over, especially if the land has successfully influenced the rest of the planet to be like it. The left in America is literally ruining the world. The world. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if at all we all are being influenced by it, more even than the sober in America, it means that the gangrene has spread. They've made themselves like Babylon. I'm doing edits, that's why I'm looking up there. They've made themselves like Babylon. The Lord has disciplined the country. He has disciplined them by causing them to lose the power they thought they could never lose. They are no longer as strong as they used to be. They are in a gradual decline. I can't really say that it's exponential, but these days it's starting to look a little bit exponential, the way that it's declining, but it's been kind of gradual. And the reason it's been gradual is because there's been, I guess, a church in that country that has been holding fort. I need to think, what did I use over here? There's a church in that country that has been holding fort, and there are also conservatives, not necessarily religious, however, that have been holding fort in that country. But I feel as if though they're getting increasingly outnumbered, and there is judgment happening. A powder keg basically is brewing in that place, and their indiscretion is being largely buffered by their support for Israel that is in and of itself on shaky ground. And recently I just read a news bulletin of sorts that read something along the lines of United States of America is soon to recognize a Palestinian state. When I saw that, I was like, the gavel has just been dropped. The USA is about to recognize a Palestinian state. Y'all about, like, America's about to go through an election, okay? And if that election does not happen day before year, like if basically the election needs to come and go real fast. And I'm low-key, what am I wishing for? I wish like the American elections would move in fast forward mode while global events are in slow motion for the sake of the world. Like, everything is moving so fast right now that I wish the American election would be expedited and finished, vote and get it over with. However, in the run-up to the voting, everything else on earth must be slowed down. Like, all this random rubbish happening in the Middle East, slow down just a little bit. Like, literally just take a little longer to do what you're doing, so that power can come back in the White House, if at all that's what God will do. That will minimize the amount of damage that America is currently doing to itself. There is no way under heaven that Donald Trump would be this duplicitous with Israel. That's all I'm getting at. And why I'm getting there is because literally a nation's fate, especially when they're on thin ice, because they've been blaspheming God, they've been breaking the heart of God, their state can literally be made or broken. It can be made or broken by their sentiment for Israel. What they're doing with Israel can either make or break a country. It can save it or it can destroy it. And America's already on thin ice right now. And Joe Biden, by the grace of God, has not been Obama in this regard, even though he's been Obama all along, in the sense that he has not been flatly just antagonized to Israel and pro-Muslim anything at all, to the point of ignoring what it is that America has been doing all along. So after Hamas raided Israel, after they raided the kibbutz and murdered and all that jazz, Joe Biden was like, America stands with Israel. So let's thank God for that, because that was a grace from God. Because Joe Biden, everybody know that he's not Joe Biden, he is Joe Obama. So by the grace of God, Joe Biden sort of kind of became low-key independent in that decision. But his independence, like I said, it was a God thing more than it was his own decision. It was grace. It was God giving America grace. It was the only decision that man made ever since he took power that was beneficial for America. But he is withering away, and it is getting closer and closer to the elections, and the sooner he can get kicked out, and if it all like Trump wins, there might be restoration for America possible, just because of the inevitability of the policy decisions that Trump will make in favor of Israel. He is pro-Israel in a way that no other American president ever has been. And a nation's security in this world, believe it or not, is hugely foundationed on its relationship with Israel. The superpower status of America is going to be made or broken by whatever eventually becomes of this war and how America stands with Israel. And the sooner Joe Obama is out of the White House, the sooner America can basically be stayed from the wrath of God. And I am rooting for that, purely for the sake of the planet at large, because then that means that the rest of us could potentially be given a little bit more time to sober up. There's been so much going on in America right now that is destroying the country in a way that is observable. God gave them 4 years of Biden to see that you can't continue like this. So you better do differently this time. You better desire differently, because I'm not going to give you what you don't want as a country. I will hand you over to your reprobate mind, if at all that's what you want, but I'm not going to force you into rehab. You know how I said that a suicidal person will at some point commit suicide anyway, even if you put them on suicide watch. God is not putting anybody on suicide watch. He's not going to put anybody on suicide watch. He is not going to insist on keeping a person alive that wants to die. So he gave them Joe Obama for 4 years and said, is this what you want? He has literally said, is this what you want? And how has the American public as well as the global citizenship helped America to realize that no, it's not what we want? It has made the entertainment industry in America fail when it is one of its biggest cultural exports in the world. It has caused this influential vessel that is teaching people the wrong politics fail, like abysmally. It has caused a mistrust of America. It has caused a loss of support and a loss of trust and respect for America incrementally over the past couple of years, until Americans, hopefully, I mean really all I can say is hopefully, wake up and see that we're destroying our own country. We can't carry on like this. And pride already comes before a fall, humility before honor. And right now it is the humble thing to do to admit that we are mistaken in this regard. We are wrong. We are wrong. Like, just say you're wrong, like proper. But I mean, if you don't want to recover, if you are the attempted suicide that insists on dying, you're gonna be left to die. If America continues in its sinful state, he will lose the election. That is Trump. He will lose it. He will not get it. He will not be able to restore America's support of Israel to make sure that the country that is America's support for Israel is more than anything a shield, some kind of an Iron Dome potential perspective. Not so much for Israel, but for America. Israel indeed needs weapons from America. They need arms, they need support, they're very supported by America indeed. But if America backs away from Israel, the person here who's in danger is not Israel. They are a couple staggering. All nations who would heave it away will be surely cut to pieces. They are a very heavy stone for all peoples. They are not going anywhere. Even in Jacob's trouble, they come to close to oblivion, and then the Lord in a second coming restores all that. There is no destruction of Jerusalem, like it never happens. But certainly America, what is true of it is that it is nowhere to be found in Bible prophecy. Unless, of course, people want to imagine that it is Babylon. So if you don't believe that it is Babylon, it's nowhere to be found in Bible prophecy. So it is in America's best interests to keep itself relevant by keeping the love that it has for Israel. If it becomes anti-Semitic to the nth degree like South Africa, if it ends up absolutely at enmity with Israel or completely ignoring it or abandoning it or walking away from it, it will lose its status as a superpower because there's no need for it anymore. There's no use for it anymore. It is currently on thin ice. It is holding on by a thread to its power. And the only thing that is keeping America strong is the fact that it is currently very useful to God for the sake of Israel. The moment it ceases to be useful to God for the sake of Israel, there is nothing left to salvage here. What do we have here? Okay, so let's see. You are teaching your children like messed up curricula. You're trying to indoctrinate them and sexualize them at much too young. You are literally muddying, filthying the planet with your entertainment. You are lying about history. You are etc. Like all these things that you're doing, I've been trying to have mercy on you. I gave you grace by making sure that Disney shows that are woke flop at the box office. Across the world, nobody's trying to watch your rubbish. Shows on Netflix are losing views because you are literally slapping the woke agenda down people's throats, and K-drama is starting to do better than American shows, evidencing that while you might have Netflix as a platform for them to stream on, and Netflix is American, bottom line is, if at all, Korean content is picking up more than American content because it's not crazy. And if at all, content from Germany, there's like Biohackers is from Germany. The Can You Fool Me Once is from the UK. If at all people are choosing to watch non-American shows because they're not going to get given a shock attack of certain woke ideologies slapped down their throat. Indeed, a lot of Europe is also quite woke, but Fool Me Once is not out there trying to proliferate that agenda, at least not yet. At least not yet. Yeah. If at all people are walking away from American television or viewing shows on Netflix in favor of other countries, these countries are going to realize that they do better to be independent from Netflix if at all they can convince the world to move over to another streaming platform. And so America will lose the clout that it has through Netflix. So far, God has given them power and kept them in power. But if people are leaving American shows in great numbers on Netflix in favor of other countries' shows because they're less licentious, it's only a matter of time before networks drop Netflix altogether. And so drop America as a streaming platform. It's only a matter of time. And people are getting exhausted of this being shoved down their throat. And evidence of that is the fact that across the world, there is a box office flop of things that they're doing trying to blaspheme God. Apparently, Jay-Z's little movie that's mocking Jesus also was a box office flop across the world. Across the world. They're just not doing well. And Disney has apparently, allegedly been, for the first time in history, being slain by a small studio, Universal, because of this woke agenda, this thing of trying to shove things down people's throats. Parents are not ready for it, and they are sick and tired of their children being made feral by the entertainment industry. And so too are they exhausted of losing good teachers because kids are being taught so much rubbish that they don't know whether they're coming or going. I also blame millennial parents. They don't make sense. However, over and above millennial parents, it's the influence that these kids are shoved down their throats through all of these entertainment industry platforms, as well as social media. Let's take YouTube. YouTube is this place where everybody in countries where it is legal to use YouTube dumps their stuff in there, and America is going out of their way to ban or prevent from being seen other people from other countries if at all they don't agree with their ideologies or whatever. I'm shadow banned by America, and they're trying to get me out of YouTube. So the global citizenship is basically kind of upset right now at censorship by America, but the censorship of America is largely influenced by leftist politics. You are not going to get a person with this flagrant ideology that is wokeism getting shadow banned for anything at all on YouTube. So basically, they are trying to cause the global citizenship that is utilizing American platforms to adhere to American woke politics that is, according to a lot of countries in the world, just flat out crazy. They're crazy. They're effeminizing men. They're making men like girls, girls like boys. They're confusing children. Their army is weak. Their politics are, what do you call this thing? Like swinging on a chandelier, like, see, I'm gonna swing on a chandelier, on a chandelier. They're swinging on chandeliers in a way that politicians across many other countries in the world just aren't swinging on chandeliers, especially in Africa. They're wagging their heads on some, what is with this circus? And so there has become a lack of trust, like a little bit of an apprehension about continuing to work with America by many countries in the world, because like, where are they going at this rate? Like, forecasting, when you're looking into a future, net present value calculations, when you're looking at the future, trying to forecast what are your prospects of staying with a particular person, you're not going to invest in a country that is obviously on a downward spiral. Like, woke politics in America has weakened the country. It has weakened its manhood. Its men have been made fluffy. The patriarchy has been made nervous, scared, afraid of being, I guess, cancel cultured by angry women that feel like they should be running a show, like a matriarchy. So the heterosexual population of males in America are scared of being cancel cultured by the matriarchy. Yeah, and replaced by them. And so they are being politically correct when men are supposed to indeed run the show. It wasn't broken. Secondly, the politics of sexuality are taking over schools. They're taking over parents. They're taking over ideals. They're taking over policies such that, never mind heterosexual manly men being nervous to be just that, non-manly men, in other words, gay men or bisexual men that are absolutely defecting from their manhood, they are being praised and their agenda proliferated at the expense of these men, and also at the expense of women that at some point were supportive of them because they want to be women. And so therefore there is this, like, not only weakening of the heterosexual population, but there is also an emboldening of the queer or the sexually obscure population, and there is a bullying of women who initially stood with this population. And so there is a weakening in totality, therefore, and to a very feminine spirit. Like, there is a feminizing of the country. It's becoming like a little girl. That's what I'm getting at. When it used to be the man. And it being that little girl is also then got politicians saying bizarre things in parliament or tantamount of parliament, Congress, whatever, that just 2, 3, 5 years ago would have been considered incredibly taboo to be spoken by anybody in an official capacity of that nature. A comprehensive denial of genders, a comprehensive denial of biological facts, a comprehensive denial of the childhood of children, a comprehensive denial of the innocence of those who need to be kept innocent, a comprehensive denial of things that have kept the fabric of society stern. And then there is a hatred of people that have been vindicated as, of course, having been right at some point, only for the sake of maintaining pride. Like people who were hated and thrown out of power because of the fact that people chose not to like them for their liberal stance when they were obviously vindicated. When they were obviously vindicated, now that another force came on the show that showed them flames, they still chose to basically maintain their pride. And right now I am speaking about conservative politics and especially Donald Trump. Biden's reign of terror has vindicated him, or at least in any sober man's mind. Biden's reign of terror ought have vindicated Donald Trump. And yet there are still some pretty stubborn leftists in America that don't want anything to do with Trump. and Americans who are literally trying to see if they can't give Biden or whatever will replace him another chance. That's a country that God has said, look, you were suicidal. I rescued you from your initial suicide attempt. This time around, if you want to continue to kill yourself, I will hand you over to death. I will hand you over to it, because I'm not going to be like God, one who is sitting outside of your hospital bed on suicide watch trying to block you from ending your life when, herein lies the deal, when I have awarded you an opportunity to live by rescuing you the first time around. I saved you because I wanted to show you that it's better to live. I showed you that people don't like what you're doing. Look at how many people are moving away to K-drama because of your woke agenda. Look at how many children's parents refuse to buy them movie tickets to watch your Disney shows because of the woke ideology they're in. Look at how you're being beaten out by tiny little studios. Look at how even your celebrities are trying to pretend as if this is not what's happening. They want to quietly just slide out of Hollywood because it's obviously becoming a whole circus. They want to slide out of it. They want to literally work from far away as they possibly can, because deep down inside they know that something is really wrong with this ecosystem, and I want to be far from the center, the epicenter of a national earthquake that's going to lay an environment destitute. I want to be as far away from the nuclear reactor that is our insanity, so that the radiation poisoning will poison them over there in California, and I will go as far out into the coastal countries. I will go for as far inland as I possibly can to avoid the radiation poisoning. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Look at how it is that I have done this thing, and those who have ears to hear and eyes to see will make these observations and do the right thing. But they don't want to admit that they're leaving for these purposes. They don't want to admit that they were wrong. They just want to, just shift a little bit, gently, quietly. In the night, move out and leave everybody destitute, anticipating what's going to happen, inevitably coming, because of the fact that ain't nobody out here repented, did a different thing. Nobody made a decision to change their minds about this wicked structure. And so now people are dying. People are dying. But guess what? As Julia Roberts, I don't want to be there when it happens. I don't want to be there when it happens. America, you've been warned, like proper. You keep getting warned. Because of the split right down the middle, God is having mercy on you. But if at all you don't repent, the Lord will extract the remnant, and he will let you suffer want and loss. But see, the thing about the demise of America is it is literally the demise of the rest of our countries. There is no way that country is going to be uprooted from history without it significantly changing the rest of our lives negatively. Because it is currently, or at least was at some point, it's losing its clout. The world's greatest and biggest and baddest, most freest democracy that basically is a great example to emulate by many countries, so that we don't live under tyranny or oppression. So if it drops the ball, then everybody else is going to automatically follow suit, because it's that influential. And when then everybody else falls apart, before everybody can be rebuilt again, it's going to be like a whole century, and by then we'll all be dead. But do you think the Lord is going to allow a century to basically come and go, where it is that we'll ultimately be dealing with a communist China planet? No. The only time we're dealing with a communist planet, a socialistic system that is very tyrannical and lording it over everybody with an iron fist, is in the tribulation with the Antichrist system. So once America, splat on the ground, falls apart, it is inevitable that ultimately we will end up with the Great Tribulation, because there will be countries in this world that are going to want to take power over, that are going to so oppress the people all over the world that they will rebel, riot, cause civil wars to break out. They will not prosper to launch their grubby feet into the global citizenship, but there will be so much civil war, and I guess all different kinds of wars, cold wars breaking out on the earth, that there will be a need for one single human individual to foster peace. His name is the Antichrist, and he does not get revealed until the church is raptured, and until there is a great falling away. So essentially the fall of America is going to catalyze what we call the great apocalypse. It is going to catalyze the end of the world. It is going to catalyze the end of the world. The Lord gave this country power that it might maintain sobriety, and he has been merciful to make it see that nobody likes what you're doing. Nobody likes what you're doing. People will feel temporarily relieved by a country that's not woke taking reins of power from America. But you see, America is not just woke. It's also the freest democracy that we can ever look at on the planet. It is not just woke. It is all these other things that we love to be a part of. And so if it falls apart in favor of a country that hates wokeism but does not care about your human rights, like China, we are a very troubled people groups, are we not? We are. South Africa is just a trash can that I cannot stand, because it has sold its soul to China, and also Russia, and look at this country that has sold itself to all of the BRICS alliances and the countries in the Middle East. Look at what it's doing to its citizens. Look at my life. South Africa no longer cares for human rights. Why? Because it just ditched, it abandoned It's European / North American principles in favor of those of communist countries. That's why what's happening to me is happening. So basically, by South Africa walking away from an American model of government and from a European or British model of government, by walking away from that, they have become anti-Semitic, and they have also become low-key anti-Christian, even though we're a Christian country, and they've become low-key communistic at the expense of those with a very polarized, dogmatic opinion, when once upon a time it was favored and respected. I am without career. I am without ability to mobilize my uncomfortable feet. I have got toe-stubbed feet because of the amount of space that I lack as I maneuver my body in this ecosystem. And the reason why that is the status quo is because my country has said people like you here are never going to breathe again. And the only thing that has influenced my country to be like that are their allies. They have become like their dad at Russia, and they have become like their dad at China. A sovereign, a despot, really, frankly, like a police state. And very slowly but surely, we are going to get to a point where no one who has a varying opinion from the country's government will be heard. Here it is that our country's government, the ANC, on behalf of an entire country of people that are uneasy, disquieted by said decision as that, decided to go and hook up a little bit of a case against Israel of genocide at the expense of a Christian nation that is Christian Judeo in its foundations and therefore stands with Israel. It's a Christian country, and if you're truly Christian, if you're truly biblical in your Christianity, you will not stand against Israel. So South Africa, which calls itself Christian, has got a government out just standing for tyrannical Muslim states and priding itself celebrating jumping up and down on the spot after the ICJ votes in favor of it continuing with its case against Israel. Who is jumping up and down in these streets? Who is marching and saying celebrate good times, woohoo, da 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 in this country about the decision of the ICJ and also the decision of South Africa at all to hook up millions of rands in order to go and fight Israel at this particular international court? Who? It's the Palestinian supporters of this country. It's the Muslims. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the Muslims. While the Jews and the Christians cower in corners waiting for anti-Semitism to rise up in this country, South Africa did that because it abandoned its American / British or English or European principles. That which influenced us initially from democracies, we are now taking on a more communist vibe. We are taking on a more despotic vibe. And so now, those who stand for freedom are cowering in corners and they're unemployed even though they're so smart. It's only a matter of time before my deadbeat land is gone. But America's not yet gone now, is it? Yeah, but it's on its way out. It's on its way out. I am exhausted. I am thoroughly out of my mind with fatigue at this point because I'm just like, America, oh America. Do you not see that if you fall apart, what it is that is happening in South Africa is just going to be finished off because it's going to think bravely that it has arrived and it has won. If America takes its support from Israel, it will be handed over altogether. It'll be handed over altogether. And then when the only people standing for Israel are lay individuals, Christians in Bible studies that, secretly just, are touched by the sorrow of Jerusalem, it's not really going to do much for them when a whole powerful superpower is not standing with Israel. They need allies. And if they don't have them, they then start to become that cup of staggering, that very heavy stone for all peoples, that all who would heave it away will surely be cut to pieces. That starts to happen. And so when that happens, it's like Gog and Magog. And Gog and Magog can only happen, Ezekiel 38, 37, 39, if there's no America. So America, you really need Donald Trump to win this election, you do. In order for the rest of us to feel safe, and in order for the rest of us to live in countries that are stupid and silly, and yet nonetheless stand on a rooftop and say, South Africa, you suck. Why did you stand against Israel? You with your Naledi pandemonium, because she is not Pandora anymore, is she now? She's pandemonious. We can still strongly stand, against the rubbish of our governments because America is doing a better thing. Why? Because you're the global superpower. When you lose that power, where's it gonna go? Where's it gonna go? Where under heaven is it gonna go when the European Union is out here trying to impose its two-state solution on Israel too? Where are you gonna go? The Antichrist is gonna rise up out of Europe. Like what? We can't trust them, not now. Because it's clear that the seat of the Antichrist is gonna commence from that joint. So Europe does not count. Europe is out here arresting people for praying in secret next to in private within their own heads in front of abortion facilities. Europe is out here arresting members of parliament or whatever for voicing their opinions on marriage between men and women being just that, according to God, and not so much gay marriages being allowable. Where did this happen? What's that country? Somebody please bring it to me. It is not Sweden. Is it Sweden? I believe it's Sweden. Yeah. Out here arresting a whole member of parliament for freedom of speech. Arresting them, thoroughly bringing a whole criminal case against them. That's what's happening in Sweden. That's what's happening in the UK. That's what's happening basically in Europe. And on top of that, Europe is out here fostering Israel to do what they wanted to do. So we can't trust Europe. We know we can't trust Trudeau. Plus, he's too tiny anyway with his little Canada. We cannot trust anybody to make a better decision. Right now, the biggest and baddest ally of Israel is America, and it is dropping the ball. And Joe Biden recently came out and said, I recognize a Palestinian state, when Donald Trump said, I recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Huge difference. Massive. Currently, if you listen to Palestinian television, like basically anywhere where it is that Muslim television is being proliferated, like Iran, Lebanese, they always refer to the capital of Israel as Tel Aviv. Donald Trump, America, the global superpower, said it's Jerusalem. He said it's Jerusalem. Like, y'all need to understand, if you don't get Donald Trump back, you're done for. You're done for as a country. You are done for. Because he's the only guy brave enough to stand against the globalist agenda. And he is the only guy brave enough to say such bold things like those. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. He's the only dude brave enough to out go and bomb Soleimani. That is what Donald Trump is. So whether or not you like him or you think he's actually truly godly is irrelevant. Bottom line is this. He kept America safe by keeping America an ally of Israel in an unshakable capacity. And if he does not come back while all of this powder keg going on in the Middle East is going on, there is no sticking around for America. It will be slowly but surely decimated, removed off the face of the earth. Because there is no president that's going to come in America right now that I can recognize, that I know of, that's going to take such a bold stand for Israel. Look at who is that guy. It was Secretary of State, whatever. Yeah, America is also out here imposing random stuff against America. They are trying to force Israel to do what they don't want to do. Something that Donald Trump would literally never do. The two-state solution is an abomination to God. And America will be strong for as long as they antagonize the prospect of forcing a sovereign country to do what they don't want to do. Therefore, Joe Biden is a massive risk for he is literally an existential risk for America, because the America being handed over to its reprobate mind is going to inevitably come if they don't take a stand for Israel, because there's nothing else that God is keeping it going for. There's nothing else. People are just trying to have abortions at full term in America. Kids killing each other in school, kids killing teachers in school, mass shootings all over the show. Like, the country is literally falling apart brick by brick, and politicians, I see us swinging on a chandelier, on a chandelier. And look at what's going on right now. The guy that you didn't like, that was speaking about a wall, a border, or whatnot, yeah, Donald Trump, he's not there, is he? And guess what Mr. Biden is doing? Out here allowing all different kinds of random stuff to come to that Texas border. It's like a whole crisis right now in America. Everybody's doing a video about it. And I'm like, you guys think the world revolves around you. What makes you think we want to know what's going on in Texas? Except we do need to know what's going on in Texas. Because the president of that country is allowing an influx into the land. They actually arrested some, commander of a terrorist organization at the border. They found him. He was caught. The rest have not been caught. They have slipped through. They are changing the voting demographics of that country, and they're converting America into an Islamic nation, essentially. They're letting military-aged men come in at the Texas border, and Joe Biden is content with that being a thing. Military-aged men that are not American. Why? Why? You're literally trying to raise up a war against your own country. Why? Because you're trying to create a globalist system. You want to hand America over to the global elites. You want to give America over to that random buffoon out just saying eat the bugs. You want to create a one world government as quickly as you possibly can. So you are bursting Texas borders open at the expense of even the Texas is a governor or what. Despite what he's saying, he is being supported, thank God, by other who they call the governors across many other conservative states. However, the American is at Supreme Court or what made a decision in favor of Joe Biden to allow military-aged men to just flood into the border at Texas. Why? It's almost as if though Joe Biden is going out of his way to create a weakened America, that it might not be so powerful so as to resist the one world government. And when then that is the thing, what is needed is somebody who hates the globalist agenda to save America. And also somebody that is pro-Israel in a way that is going to make sure that they are able to fight this war against Hamas and finish it. Otherwise, Jerusalem is going to be isolated, left to be a very heavy stone for all peoples surrounding it, trying to heave it away, and God will make it a cup of staggering with no support coming from America, its biggest ally, its biggest supporter of weapons, and they will lean, therefore, seeing as they are now outnumbered, on no one but God. So it's Gog and Magog, the war. And when that's the case, what do we have exactly left to do with America? What is the point? I mean, you are selling us gay porn on Netflix. There's nothing left to keep with America. You are letting it to be taken over by Muslims at the borders, just piercing through, breaking past, changing voting demographics. You're causing a country that is holding this whole planet together with sticky tape in democracy to fall apart. Once you hand us over to eat the bucks, once you hand us over to megalomaniacal World Economic Forum buffoons who have not been democratically elected by anybody, once you hand the world over to the United Nations that hates Israel, it's anti-Semitic, its women don't even stand for raped Israeli women, once you hand the world over to the global elite, once you hand the world's superpower over to the global elites, it's like literally tribulation vibes, apocalypse, like rapture. That's what's good. We're going home because America's gone. It is literally the last thing standing in the way of a global collapse that's going to create a one world government. And you think Joe Biden is still worthy of being voted into power? American politics is proliferating this agenda at the expense of the souls of men. So I'm wondering, Julia Roberts, why are you leaving California? Come on, tell us, you suicidal little teenager, you. Tell us. I know, it's because you can see that something very bad is coming, but you're an individualist that thinks that you can move out as far away from California as you possibly can, move inland somewhere, maybe even a different country, so that when the radiation poisoning from your little powder keg eventually blows up, that you'll be safe at like a nice little distance. Except this thing is out here radiating across the, I don't know, planet, never mind America alone. Final part.